Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about carbohydrates. We're going to break down the three kind of subcategories within carbohydrates. We have complex, simple, and fiber. With that, I think it's important to know kind of what is the concept of each and where we should be getting most of our carbs from, where should we kind of be relying on moderation. And it's important to keep us on track when we see people talking about keto or other fad diets on Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media it might be, and keep us in line with knowing that cutting out carbs is not necessarily going to get us to where we need to be. So we're going to dive in and start with complex carbohydrates first. So starting with our complex carbohydrates, that's this group over here that I've created. I've got some rice, pasta, oat flour, all super great examples of complex carbohydrates. However, it's really important to note that veggies and fruits are great examples of complex carbohydrates as well. And that kind of leads into my next point that most of your carbs should be coming from complex sources. This is important because they have a low glycemic index, but a high satiety rate. So what that means for us is that these take longer to digest, but they leave us full for longer and also give us high energy for longer durations of time. So these are the guys you want to pay most attention to and include most in the diet. Moving away from complex, we've got our simple example over here. I've picked one of my most favorite examples. Obviously I've cracked open this bag here, but with our simple carbohydrates, these guys have a high glycemic index but a low satiety rate. So that's why it's really easy to snack on simple carbohydrates because they don't leave us full for very long. They're considered like quick bursts of energy. So we don't want to get most of our carbs from these sources. However, we can still include them in the diet. We just don't want them in high amounts. It shouldn't be our main source, but always indulge, always give yourself room for moderation, okay? So moving into fiber. Fiber is considered, well, it is a carbohydrate, it's a type of carbohydrate. However, it doesn't digest when it goes to the body because it promotes growth of healthy gut bacteria. So I've got two examples here. They're both oats, old-fashioned and steel cut. These are some of my favorites, but again, there's multitudes of examples, but with our fiber, it is great because it promotes that gut bacteria, but it's also included in a ton of complex carbohydrates. Not always, but you're gonna find that, again, brown rice, pasta, things like that, they have some fiber in them. And that's why it's important to include complex carbohydrates as your main source of carbs, because then you're getting a good amount of best of both worlds here. These are the most important to include, but don't exclude our simple guys over here. They're for fun. You can enjoy moderation within your carbohydrates. So kind of concluding our video here, I think it's important to show at least a couple examples so that you can see the spectrum of carbohydrates and where you should be leaning towards and where you should be finding yourselves more in a moderation standpoint. We do want to include simple in our diet. We don't want to give these things up. It's important to keep us compliant. Enjoy the things that you love. I love Reese's, so I include them constantly. But again, it keeps us compliant, it keeps us happy, and we deserve those things. So I hope this video helped you understand where you should be standing on the carbohydrate spectrum, or just what you should be including in the diet, and even helpful when you see social media posts about excluding carbohydrates or any other macronutrient for that matter. That is not the way to go. We want to include all these things in our diet, but again, always in moderation. I hope this video helped you out.